Hello, and welcome to Reader's Notebook, page 21. Before we get started with our lesson, I'd like to go over for a brief moment what we're going to be doing this week. On Friday, in Reader's Notebook, I asked that you make a copy of pages 14 through 17 and share with me a copy so we can put that on your first quarter grade this week. And I want to emphasize, please share with me the copy and not the original. If you share with me the original, you might lose some of the material on it or not be able to write on it again. Also, I'd like you to make sure this week you finish pages 18, 19, and 20 that we did Monday, Wednesday, and Friday in Reader's Notebook. I'm going to ask on Friday that you make a copy of that and share that with me on Friday. Today, I said we're going to do page 21. On Wednesday, instead of an assignment, we're going to eliminate one assignment during the week. So we have 4 instead of 5. We have a reader's check-in, talk a little bit about the book you're reading, and then let you read on Wednesdays. On Friday, the last day of the first quarter, we will start page 22 of your reader's notebook. On the right-hand side, our writer's notebook, what we'd like you to have done for tomorrow is 5 to 7 page rough draft on your Google Doc that we've been working on last week and several weeks before that. Tomorrow on Tuesday, Ms. DeFries is going to have a lesson on revising paragraphs of your rough draft. And on Thursday, I will have a lesson using different punctuations like commas, semicolons, colons, ellipses, and so forth. Just a brief review of how to use those or work those into your story. Today, on page 21, we're going to build upon what we had on Friday. We introduced 12 archetypes that your characters in your books can fall into. And we went through each of the archetypes and then picked 2 characters and filled them out in our reading notebook on page 20 about what type of archetype they are. Today, we're going to expand on that, whereas we're going to talk about not always is it a neat fit, where it's for sure that if you say they're a hero or they're a magician or they're a jester or an outlaw, do they fit perfectly in that category? Because they may show some signs that they are. Then there's some things that they may do that show that they're not in there. Okay? To be able to do that, though, you're going to have to watch this video. It's just about 7 minutes long. The story is called Each Kindness. It's about a student, Maya, who moves new into a school, and a student, Chloe, who she sits next to. And Chloe is not very nice to her, doesn't talk to her, won't play with her. And as the student moves away later in the story, Chloe starts to have some regrets on how she treated Maya. Okay, so you'll have to watch that. After you watch that, we'll come back to the lesson. As I said, on Friday, we introduced character archetypes. And I also said on Friday, it's easier if we just kind of go through the categories. There's 12 of them. So your characters could be a romantic lead. It could be a hero in your story. It could be a magician, a powerful figure who's harnessed the universe. There's Darth Vader. We talked about Thanos. The outlaw, a rebel, an explorer. Okay, push the boundaries of how things are normally done. The wise old sage that people go to for advice. The innocent, okay, pure character, good intentions. The creator, okay, visionary. The ruler, the legal or emotional power over other characters. The caregiver, okay. The jester, comic relief, okay, can be funny. And then lastly, the everyman character. So most of the time when you're reading a story and your characters that you have in your story, they're going to fit in one of these 12 categories. But today, as I mentioned, we're going to take a look at how characters, as you read stories where the characters are more complex, they may fit into a category sometimes, but you look at some of the other behaviors that you do and you kind of like, well, maybe they fit in there, maybe they don't. Okay. But again, before you do today's lesson, you're going to need to do Friday's lesson. We introduced the 12 archetypes. Okay. All right. So what do we got today? All right. So our story that the read aloud that Miss DeFries went over, Chloe was the character who was not nice to Maya. So what archetype is she? We decided that she probably was the outlaw. Okay. So we have a box here and we got a chart. And then on the left side are reasons why we think Chloe is an outlaw or has that type of archetype. She refused to talk to Maya. Maya would always smile and say hello. She had an empty seat that she was assigned to sit next to Maya or to Chloe. Chloe did not talk to her. She called her names, talked bad about her. She was mean to her, like on the playground, wouldn't play with her. Every time Maya asked her to play or she would bring stuff to school. Okay. So she wasn't a very nice person to Maya. What we're going to ask you to do in your reader's notebook, one of the points that we're going to ask is, as the story progressed and Maya moved away, Chloe reconsidered or had some second thoughts about how she had treated Maya and some regrets. And she thought about some things and some events occurred. So we're going to want you to list some of those things that happened and reasons why. You could say, well, maybe she's not an outlaw, or maybe she was at the beginning and she isn't now. Her character changed. So our assignment, okay, we're at that point already. It's 1 to 2 sentences of why you feel Chloe is not an outlaw. That should be the first thing on top of page 21. You're going to make a chart like we have right here, and you're going to pick a character in your book and say pick the archetype that you want. And on the left side, you're going to come up with reasons why you think they're like that from your book, and then reasons on the right side of why they may not be like that. Underneath the chart, then, when you're done with that, you're going to write 1 to 2 sentences of what you learned from making the chart. Okay. Now, to help you out a little bit, on Friday, I had shared with you a reader's mentors text that we do. And so this is what your page 21 should look like. Okay. So if you go to your reader's notebook, on the very top, all we wanted you to do is write 1 or 2 sentences of why you think Chloe isn't an outlaw. What did she do towards the end of the story that made it seem that she kind of changed her ways or had rethought how she had treated Maya? Okay, we already got the left side of the chart done, so we need a chart for that. After you write 1 or 2 sentences for that, we want you to write down the name of your book. The book we are reading is On the Come Up. Our character that we're going to talk about is Aunt Pooh, and we also consider her to be an archetype as an outlaw. Okay, but it's not a clear-cut thing. Okay, so on the left-hand side, here are reasons why we thought Aunt Pooh is an outlaw. She sells drugs. Okay, she's in a gang. She gets into fights. She wants to get revenge for her brother-in-law's death, and she doesn't feel bad about selling drugs or being violent. Now, as you start reading more, we who are reading more about her, we find some things that maybe you can think about. Maybe she's not an outlaw. She provides money for her family, including her sister and her sister's children. She sells the drugs because she thinks it's the only way to feed her family and her extended family. She kind of has a code of ethics here about the people she hurts. She's only going to hurt the people that hurt her or her family. And she's very protective of her gang members. So we want you to make this chart and fill it out. Pick an archetype of a character that you have and some reasons why you think they may fit into this archetype, and then some reasons why they may not. Underneath it, we want you to write 1 or 2 sentences of what you noticed when you made this chart. For example, when we made this and we looked back, we thought that she might be just misunderstood and may not really be an outlaw. But the more that we read the story, we're realizing she's an outlaw who has a few tendencies towards good, but she is pretty much towards the outlaw. She's not a very nice person. So this is our lesson for today on page 21. On the top, you can see again 1 or 2 reasons why Chloe isn't an outlaw, okay, from our read aloud. And then pick a character from your book, write the name of the book, the character, the archetype, provide a chart with some reasons, pros and cons of why you feel they would be in that category and why they wouldn't. And then underneath, just kind of 1 or 2 sentences about what you think, or which way would you really lean if you had to say, are they or aren't they at that? Okay, and when you get all done, as usual, you can read. If you have any questions, please let us know. Again, go back and refer to the first slide or second slide when we talk about all the things that we want you to make sure and doing this week. If you have any questions, email me. We're on Google Meets during class times. I hope to see you there. We've had a good start with that last week. Thank you very much. You have a great day. We will talk to you later.